Hey everybody, I am going to make a slow cooker pulled pork today. I'm just going to put together a very simple dry rub. I'm just going to add some onion and garlic to the bottom of my slow cooker. Um, I'm going to rub that 4.5 pound pork shoulder with the dry rub. I'm just going to put it in the crock pot and let it cook for 8 hours, and then just have amazing deliciousness afterwards. So here we go. So the first thing we're going to do is actually make the dry rub, and it's pretty simple. Get a small bowl. I am going to use a tablespoon of brown sugar, a tablespoon of chipotle red pepper, a tablespoon of chili powder, and then I'm going to use a half teaspoon of cumin. Cumin is a very, very powerful spice, so you don't want to overdo it. I'm going to just use a little bit of a half teaspoon. And then I'm going to go ahead and mix in some cinnamon. Again, about a half teaspoon, maybe a teaspoon. These are dry rubs, so you kind of do it to your flavor, whatever you want to do. And I'm going to use kosher salt if you have it. It's got a thicker grain than other salts, so it's good for a rub, but you can use any salt if you don't have kosher. But if you do, use it. Now, once you've put together your dry rub, stirred it all up, get it together, take an onion. I use yellow onion for long cooking like this. White onion and red onions are good for other things, but I think for a long cooked yellow onion, it's got a nice sweetness. So cut that up. It's all about the big slices, though. This is really flavor more than anything else. So cut them sort of big chunks and just throw them on the bottom of your crock pot. Once you're done with that, it's time to move on to garlic. Um, you know, use as much as you want. Use garlic liberally. All I'm doing is taking some cloves, cutting off the ends, taking the skin off, crushing them a little bit so that um, you know they release some of that garlicky flavor. When you're done, the onions and the garlic should be laying as close to on a flat plane on the bottom of the crock pot as possible. But I sort of envision a cabiny outdoor feel, so a little bit of beer flavor is good. Save the good stuff to drink for yourself. Use Bud Light. It's terrible to drink, but great to cook with. It'll give a light beery flavor without having the overpowering beer flavor. Now that dry rub we made earlier, now it's time to put it on. Make sure you wash that pork, pat it down dry with a paper towel, and then spread all of that all over. Don't forget the sides. Make sure it's all covered really well. And then you just drop it in your crock pot. Turn that on high. And that's going to cook for 8 hours at high. I might actually cook it for 4 hours at high and then turn it on low for the last four. There you go. Hey, so after 8 hours, your house is going to be smelling amazing. The first thing you want to do is get the meat out of the crock pot. So you can use tongs, but be careful because it's going to be wanting to fall off the bone. Do that, put it on a cutting board or something to rest. It's going to continue cooking internally for a little while, so maybe give it 15 minutes or so. Meanwhile, take the all the juices and stuff that have been created in the crock pot, and pour them through a colander. That'll remove all of the onions and the solid chunks and leave just the liquid. You're going to want to end up mixing that back in with all the meat. So get in there after it's rested. Start pulling that meat apart. I like to tend to cut it first to get it into smaller pieces, and I use my meat gloves and I just get in there. I rip it apart. It is pulled pork after all. And once you do that, put it back in the crock pot, pour your broth over it, and then yeah, have a great meal. I use rolls. You can put some pickle on it if you want to put some coleslaw or something like that. However you enjoy your pulled pork, go ahead and do that. Keep in mind, once you put it in the refrigerator, all those flavors continue to mix, and it's even going to be better tomorrow. Thanks for watching.